crazy awesome show for you guys today. Like I have a baby dinosaur behind me, and that's just kind of a hint as to what we'll be talking about a little bit later, because we have William Stout in the house. It's amazing. We'll be talking about his book, and we will be featuring a Q&A with him, so ask so many questions about him. He has had such an amazing life and career, and ask him about dinosaurs. He knows so much about them. We were just talking about them before the show starts. It was rad. We also have the Grace Premium Format Figure from Aspen Comics, the Soulfire series. That is amazing and beautiful, and here in the studio, so we'll be talking about her a little bit with Breeze coming back to do a segment with me about Grace. And then we have the Aquaman Premium Format Figure because Jason Momoa, right? And because Jason Momoa. And then I feel like there's a movie coming out that has Jason Momoa in it. So also Chickie's in the house today, so you know things are gonna get like a little bit crazy. We also have the whole crew. We have Bree, we have Sam, Brett, Brendan, Challenger, and Jeff. Jeff's here. We didn't forget about you. So first up, let's just get started. We have our featured collector of the week. His name is Roddy Gutt. He's from Sweden. He's from somewhere in Sweden, Challenger, or Switzerland?
I think it was Switzerland.
Switzerland, yes. Okay. Yeah, he has look at these cases that he has his Court of the Dead figures in. They're just stunning. All these, I love watching how people display their collections. They're so cool. So thank you so much, Roddy, for sharing your collection with us. If you would like to be the next featured collector, please go to our blog at side.show/blog and click the Apply Now button. We love seeing your collections. It's so cool. You'll be featured on the show and in our blog. So yeah, don't be afraid. We don't bite. We just want to see what you got. So thank you. Normally I just push to our Alexa skill for the news, because that is where you get all of the most up-to-date news nowadays, is through the Alexa skill or through like iTunes, wherever you can download podcasts. We have the Let Your Geek Sideshow daily geek update. But oh my God, the Captain Marvel trailer. We cannot go another second without talking about it. Please tell me everyone in this room has seen it.
Yes.
Yes. Guys, she like that scene where she's flying and she's spinning and she's like using her full power, that helmet, that hair. Come on. It's like
the scene where she punches the old woman.
Oh, of course. Chickie likes her punching the old woman. I'm all about her using her powers in space, but you know, and I'm also way about the cat. Can we talk about Goose and how I really hope they elaborate on what that cat actually is in the comics? So, yeah. There's fan theories online already about how maybe the cat is how Nick Fury loses his eye. But so you enjoyed the punching of the old woman. Let's talk about that.
I did. Well, in the beginning, the shorter trailer, they just had that really quick shot.
Right.
But then they show the
woman
older
fighting,
actress and the stunt move that they did, which I thought was awesome. But it's just so shocking. I think
yeah, it was pretty awesome. Yes, but then showing the full range of her power, and I just cannot wait for that movie.
I like the trick that they did with
the hair.
Yeah, it's the disappearing headpiece, and then her hair just flies out. That's cool.
We're all excited about this movie in here, right? Right? Yeah. Jeff's trying to be quiet. What?
I said if it's space, I love it.
If it's space, you love it. So that's really your only bar, Sam. You're just like space. I'm there. Cool, right? Yeah, he's just doing this to me.
Blowing up in space.
Yeah, things blowing up in space. Yes. In space, no one can hear you scream.
But the explosions look great.
But the explosions look great, even though they wouldn't actually happen because there's no oxygen.
Well, you can hear the explosions too.
Yeah, you can.
Awesome.
Okay, don't be a downer. Don't be a downer.
Okay. Cool. Well, oh my gosh, Captain Marvel trailer. If you guys haven't, it's seriously, I don't know how you haven't. If you're watching our show and haven't seen the Captain Marvel trailer,
what you doing?
Yeah, but like still watch the show. Just watch the Captain Marvel trailer after.
Where can they see?
They can see it on our Facebook page, we definitely shared it on Instagram. We definitely retweeted it. But Marvel Studios is where it's also there as well, but we put it everywhere. It's in our blog. we just can't stop talking about it here. It's so amazing. Speaking of amazing, we have a short video break for you, and when we come back, I have Brie, so that's awesome, but also the Grace Premium Format Figure. You guys are watching Sideshow Live. We'll be right back. Oh, hi, Brie.
Hi, Susan.
How's it going?
It's going good.
Awesome. You guys are watching Sideshow Live. We are back here with my amazing co-host, Brie. She decided to come back and talk about Grace because I heard you wanted to learn a little bit more about the Soulfire series.
Yes, I would love to know more about the Soulfire series, especially Grace, because look how gorgeous she is.
I know. This piece made its debut in New York this year, and just everything just took off from there. Haha, because she has wings. Get it? Yeah? I'm funny.
Punny.
I'm funny. I'm funny. So this is Grace from Soulfire. She is a great pairing for our Aspen Premium Format Figure, who is from the same comic book line, though they're from different worlds, because the Soulfire world is a little bit different. It's a world where kind of tech has taken over, and she's the last of her species, known as the Rahumi, and they are trying to introduce magic back into the world.
Oh.
So it's kind of amazing.
No wonder she's so magical.
So a lot of the things that you see in her comic books are like, she pops with all this color that you see right here because everything's like a tech world and it's like mechanical and computerized. So she's like the light. She's bringing the Soulfire back in, and that's her exclusive is actually like a swap out with the Soulfire itself.
Oh, that's
on her
awesome.
arm. So one of the main things about her species is they all have different types of insect wings, and it's indicated by these tattoos that are on their backs and on their faces. So obviously she has dragonfly wings, and you can see the dragonfly. There's
Are these
wings
on her her
that-
eye too?
Yeah, the dragonfly wings on her eyes.
So pretty.
Yeah. So Bree, do you want to tell us a little bit more about what the figure?
I would love to. Grace stands at 28 inches tall.
It's over 2 feet tall, guys.
She's quite mighty looking. She's got a 22-inch wingspan. And
That's such a cute stat.
Isn't this so cool?
Oh my
I'm kind of obsessed with it. Again, she's got, sorry?
No, I just the wings. I'm just emphasizing like
Yeah, they're really pretty. This is like goals for a Halloween costume.
Right? How do we even do this?
Yeah, right?
Oh my god.
Okay, so she's, like we already mentioned, she's got these tattoos that indicate her heritage. And she's got a fully sculpted costume, and it's really pretty. An exclusive swap out, her hand comes with this surge of magic, which is the Soulfire, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Pre-orders for Grace start tomorrow, December 6th, between noon and 3 p.m. So right now you can go RSVP for Grace at side.show/GracePF.
Side.show/GracePF. Oh my gosh.
And those order times are
between Pacific time. Yes, Pacific time. Between noon and 3 p.m. Pacific time. Also, something amazing about just look at the paint on her. Besides the translucent resin, that is clearly her wings are at least impartially done in that, but the iridescence of her hair and the way it changes color.
Yeah, her hair is so nicely sculpted too. It's got so much detail.
Yeah.
She's gorgeous.
It's so amazing.
I'm kind of obsessed with her.
I am too. We can be obsessed with her together.
Okay.
Yeah, sounds awesome. So we have a short video break, and when we come back, we have Aquaman. We'll actually call him Aquaman during this segment, we promise. He's not just for Momoa. He's also Aquaman as well. So Arthur Curry will be here when we're back. Thank you so much for coming and talking about
So
Grace
happy
with
to
me.
be here.
Awesome.
Thanks for having me.
You're watching Sideshow Live. We'll be right back. I think he's gorgeous. He looks so good. This is the Aquaman Premium Format Figure, you guys. How pretty is this, by the way? So pretty. It's oh, handsome. Sorry, he is handsome. My bad. He can be pretty. He has flowing locks. Those are pretty. This is the Aquaman Premium Format Figure. He made quite a splash in New York. I can be funny. Right?
Let us know when you start.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Oh, see what I mean? This is what happens when Chicky's here. I'm getting roasted. But everyone's been talking about this figure ever since, wanting him to go available for pre-order. Even Jason Momoa got a chance to take a look at him. Jeff was there. How'd that go?
That was amazing, actually.
Yeah.
He was really, really excited about it. It's really nice when you can actually see someone's face light up.
Oh, I love that.
The coverage is on Jason's Instagram.
Oh, the coverage for it is on Jason's Instagram. That's amazing. So that's at Pride of Gypsies. I may or may not have that memorized. Anyway, so this is based on Jason Momoa's appearance in the upcoming Aquaman film by James Wan. You can see so many details on it, including there's Atlantean script on his trident. I don't know if we can get close enough in there. I swear it's there. I can see it. But it is there. He has a sculpted golden scaled costume. Oh, there you go. Ooh, see, it's up there, and then it's in the center as well. If you move down, there we go. See all the Atlantean script on the trident right there? There we go. Ooh, pretty. He has a sculpted golden scales on his chest, but his pants are actually fabric, and they were made to replicate in reference to as this is the quarter scale version of the pants that they actually had on him, because our team was actually able to go and see the pants and feel them in order to do a replica of the actual pants that he wears in his costume. So he has an Atlantis themed base, as you can see, with a kraken kind of wrapping itself around these steps. I do want to say it's authentic seaweed, but it's not. It's sculpted seaweed. But he does have his Aquaman symbol that you do see on everything that Arthur Curry kind of touches. It's from DC Comics. It is in the movie. And we're just really excited for this movie to come out on December 21st. You can see that this figure also has the golden eyes of Aquaman from this costume, and of course Jason Momoa's luscious locks. I did write that in the script, by the way, so he has such good hair. I'm just saying. The exclusive is a swap out left hand holding the Ocean Masters mask, and he is available for pre-order tomorrow, December 6th, between noon and 3 p.m. Pacific time. But his RSVP page is live, so if you head on over to side.show/King of Atlantis, That's side.show/King of Atlantis. You can RSVP to be first to be notified for when this amazing figure is available for pre-order. I just noticed, I've seen this figure so many times. I was at New York Comic Con. I just noticed there's a tattoo coming out of the top. That's so cool, like down to the last detail. It's amazing. Wow, that's actually a really good shot that you're looking at right now of the piece. So yeah, the RSVP list lets you choose how you want to be notified. So with Grace and with Aquaman, you can head on over to their RSVP pages and you can either be notified via email or via text when the figure that you want goes live on our website for pre-order. So you guys, that's amazing. We have another short break for you, and when we come back, we will be talking to William Stout. You're watching Sideshow Live, and we'll be right back. Welcome back to Sideshow Live. We have such a special guest here today, coming off his latest book release from our friends over at Insight Editions. We have in the studio Mr. William Stout. Hello! Hi! Thank you so much for joining us today. It is so awesome to have you here. How are you?
Thanks for having me, Susan. I'm great. I'm so excited to be out promoting this book because it covers my whole career, 50 years.
I have had a chance to flip through it. It's beautiful.
Oh,
I'm
thank you.
so excited that this is coming out. It's just stunning.
Insight did an amazing job. It's got big fold-outs, and I've never seen my work reproduced so faithfully. The color is just spot on. It's just incredible.
Wow. Oh, I love that. So just a little bit about William. You are a very talented artist, and you've done work that ranges from storyboards to production design, and you've done exhibitions and album covers, and you've even had work in the Smithsonian and the British Museum.
Yes.
Wow. So even with all of that on your resume, your specialty is paleontological art.
That's one of them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just one of them? How many others?
Well, the way the book is arranged is 12 chapters, and each chapter is on a different aspect of my career. So there's a chapter on comics, chapter on my film design, chapter on theme park design, chapter on Antarctica, where I've spent a lot of time.
I read about that.
Chapter on dinosaurs
And album covers, because you did for
there's
the
a whole
Rolling Stones.
Whole music chapter, yeah.
It's
Rolling
crazy.
Stones and the Ramones and the Who and
Just those little bands that, no big deal. That's so amazing. I was looking at them and I was like, I have that Rolling Stones album. So I just went.
And I was still doing it. I got a call from Dubai the other day. It was Cat Stevens. He said, you probably don't realize this. My son gave me a copy of your blues book. I did a book called Legends of the Blues. He said, that's how I learned how to play, listening to Big Bill Broonzy and Lead Belly and all those guys. He said, would you consider doing my next album cover? It's got a lot of blues on it. And I said, heck yeah. So that album cover is in the book too.
Oh my God. I'm like not going to cry. I swear. Cat Stevens is my all-time favorite artist.
He's so incredible.
All-time favorite artist.
He was so sweet and down to earth.
I'm not going to cry. I'm fine. I'm fine. First off, we're going to start a little bit with the paleontological art. So how did you get into that?
Okay, well,
Changing subjects.
When I was 3 years old, my parents took me to see my very first movie. We didn't even have a TV back then. This was 1952. And they took me to the Reseda Drive-In to see the re-release of the original 1933 King Kong. And I think it did damage at a genetic level because I've been nuts about dinosaurs ever since and crazy about that movie ever since. It's still my favorite movie of all time.
It's a brilliant film.
And I've been drawing dinosaurs ever since then.
That's, wow.
So in the mid-1970s, my friend Don Glut, he had a book called The Dinosaur Dictionary, and he thought, it's time to revise that book. There have been so many new dinosaurs found. So his goal was to have at least one image per listing. And I agreed to do 4, which turned into 44. And that started to launch my Dinosaur Man career. I joined the Society of Vertebrate Paleontology. I attend their meetings every year to stay updated on all my dinosaur info. And
that's amazing.
My regular publisher, Byron Price, was visiting me, and he said, if you could do your own book on anything, what would you do? And I thought he was just being conversational. I really didn't have an answer, and he saw all these dinosaur dictionary pictures around my studio. He said, well, would you like to do one on dinosaurs? I said, sure, that'd be fun. Forgot about it. 2 months later, I got a phone call from Byron. He says, Bill, we got our book deal, but Bantam Books wants to do your big dinosaur book. And suddenly I had this gigantic project dropped in my lap.
Oh my God.
And I got real serious about it. I started contacting the living paleontologists who had discovered a lot of the creatures that were in the book. And this was before email. So I would do pencil drawings and then Xerox them and then mail them to the paleontologists to get their feedback. And it would go back and forth until we were both happy with what was done.
Oh my gosh.
So the book became a bestseller. It was featured in Life magazine, and really that launched my career as a paleo artist.
Wow. Oh my gosh. That's so amazing. So is some of the art that you brought from that book?
No,
this
art
is from a different
I brought
book.
is from a brand new book that I thought I wasn't supposed to tell anybody about, but I just got the okay from Sideshow that I can discuss it. As you know, Sideshow's done a whole series of magnificent dinosaur sculptures. They're absolutely incredible.
They're decorating the set right now.
So Sideshow called me up and they said, look, we've got a book coming out. It's going to be photographs of all our beautiful sculptures of dinosaurs. Would you mind doing your own interpretation of one of our dinosaurs? And I said, well, how many did you guys do? And they said 18. I said, let me do all 18. And so the first one I tackled, it's actually not a dinosaur, it's a mosasaurus, which is a seagoing lizard. They're the ancestors of the monitor lizards. And I did this one first, but I didn't think it was dynamic enough, so I did a new version. So you can see what this looks like. Are you getting glare on that?
Nope.
Oh my gosh.
So this is a little more dynamic.
Oh my gosh.
And that's what they ate. They ate these big ammonites, which are sort of like nautilus.
I have like, because you can go to, you know, museums of natural history, and you always have those guys in the rocks.
Right, and sometimes, well, at the San Diego Natural History Museum, I've got 12 murals there, and one of them is of
Just 12.
of a Cretaceous sea scene, and next to it, they've got a cabinet with the ammonites, with the bite marks of the mosasaurs in the shells.
Holy moly!
Super cool.
Oh my gosh! Next time I'm in San Diego, guess where I'm going? Wow, that's.
So this is one of my favorites that I've done for the new Dinosauria book.
Oh.
This is Dilophosaurus, a Triassic dinosaur.
Oh.
And
That's so cool.
yeah, the strange double crest on his head.
Oh, that's amazing.
Love doing this stuff. Now, one of the things I had fun with was there were 4 Jurassic dinosaurs that are in the series. And so I did 4 pictures, but I made it so that if you put them all together, it makes one big long panorama.
Oh, wow.
They all go end to end to end. And then I did the same thing with the Cretaceous, but that's with 8 pictures. So 8 pictures, if you put them all together, they make one big gigantic picture.
That's so cool. Oh my gosh, I love this. I love this so much. So be on the lookout, everyone, for the Dinosauria book that has the art of William Stout in it.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So dinosaurs are pretty amazing, but so is working on movies. So
Yeah.
how did you evolve your career into film?
Well, it's funny. I was doing movie posters, and I found out that the movie poster world and the making of movie worlds are 2 completely separate worlds. They do not intersect. So even though I was doing movie posters, there were no offers to make any films or anything.
Right.
And a friend of mine, Bob Greenberg, he was a production assistant on the new Conan the Barbarian movie that was being made back in the late 70s. And I was intrigued because I was a huge Robert E. Howard fan. I had read all the Conan books. And what really intrigued me was when I found out that Ron Cobb was the production designer. Now, I knew Ron Cobb as a political cartoonist for the LA Free Press. He also did a lot of the creatures in the Cantina sequence of Star Wars and designed the Nostromo for Alien. So
Just those little projects.
So I thought, what would Ron be doing with Conan? I'm really dying to see it, but I was so busy doing posters, I just didn't have time to get over there. Finally got a break in my schedule, but instead of going there, I went to the ABA, the American Booksellers Association. Happened to be in LA that year, and it's every publisher and every editor in the United States all in one room. So great place for an illustrator like me to come by and pick up work.
Absolutely.
I got there, and the first person I ran into was Ron Cobb. And he said, Bill,
Serendipitous.
you are my first choice of who I want to work with in the art department, but I have an agreement with the director, John Milius. He has veto power over anybody I want to bring in. Would you mind leaving your portfolio so that John can see it? And I thought, well, it might be fun to learn how to make movies.
Totally.
It'd be cool. So I went in the next day, and John happened to be there. Looked through my book, remembered a Harlan Ellison story I had illustrated called Shattered Like a Glass Goblin, which he had loved. And then he just handed the book back to me and started walking out the door, and in very dramatic fashion he said, "Hire him." So I went in to talk to the line producer, who told me what I would be making on the film is that originally they're going to hire me to do storyboards. And I nearly fell off the chair laughing because it was about 10% of what I was making in advertising. But I thought, well, it's only for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And I found out later that whenever you get hired on a film, it's always for 2 weeks, so that if you're a jerk and you don't work out, they can let you go after the 2 weeks. There's no hard feelings. So the 2 weeks actually turned into 2 years and turned into a film career. I've now worked as a designer on over 45 films. And also, when we were doing Conan the Barbarian, John Milius was producing 1941 for Steven Spielberg. So our receptionist was Kathleen Kennedy, and Steven's office was right across from our office. So Ron and I would work on Conan during the day, and then 6 o'clock, put our pencils down, run over to Steven's office and kick around ideas with Steven for his next project, which was Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yep. That is so cool. cool.
Talk about right place, right time.
I know.
Unbelievable.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
So I worked on Conan very quickly. I stopped doing storyboards and started doing the designs that Ron didn't have time for. And when the Dino De Laurentiis family saw that I was doing this, they began to groom me to become a production designer, and eventually became a production designer and designed. Well, I designed one film that's become a gigantic cult film called Return of the Living Dead with the Tar Man.
Yep. I was like, Jeff right there.
And then I did Masters of the Universe with Frank Langella and Dolph Lundgren.
Yep. And
It's funny, every time you name something, somebody squeaks over.
yeah, and like all these, we're trying to be, you know, like, oh, our guest is, we're being reverent, but everyone's like,
So yeah, got to work on Pan's Labyrinth with Guillermo. And
yep, there's.
Sorry.
designed the big bug at the end of Men in Black.
Oh my
the
God.
Edgar, and
That's
so
that's amazing.
First Blood, lots of different pictures.
Wow. Oh my gosh. And then even with all that, you've had time to design theme parks?
Yes, I got hired by Walt Disney Imagineering and worked there for about 2.5, 3 years, designing new theme parks and all their properties, and then got hired by Universal to do the same thing, and I would bounce back and forth between the two companies over the years.
That's crazy. Anything of note in there?
Oh gosh. Well, some of my first murals are there. Walt Disney's Animal Kingdom. They commissioned 3 prehistoric murals for that, including the very first reconstruction ever done of the T-Rex called Sue, who was discovered by a friend of mine, Susan Hendrickson. And
I was literally just at Animal Kingdom like a
Really?
month ago, and I saw that, and I love it. That's
Oh, cool.
amazing.
well, when I was doing the picture of Sue, the mural of Sue, I didn't want it to just be a T-Rex. I wanted it to be that particular T-Rex. So I called the preparators at the Field Museum in Chicago who were preparing the skeleton for display. And I said, what are the pathologies? And they said, oh, you should see it. She's got scratches all over her face from fights with other T-Rexes. She's got a hole in her leg where she got stuck by a Triceratops horn. She's got a broken tail. And so I incorporated all of that into the reconstruction. So that actually is not just a T-Rex, but it is that
Sue.
T-Rex. It's Sue.
See, now I have to go back to Animal Kingdom and look at that mural again and know that. Oh,
Yeah, my first 2 murals were for the Houston Museum of Natural Science.
wow.
They depict life before the dinosaurs. And then the last 2 murals I did after the San Diego Zoo saw what I did for the San Diego Natural History Museum, they hired me to do 2 murals for their new Elephant Odyssey exhibit. So the first mural shows San Diego back when it had elephants, and I also included about 80 other creatures besides the mammoths and mastodons. And then the second mural they commissioned is the same scene, but today with the animals that are remaining, like black bears and cougars and badgers and things.
Oh, that's
That's my
so
favorite kind of work. If I could do murals the rest of my life, I'd be the happiest guy in the world.
wow. So you've also not only painted so many amazing places, but you've been to so many amazing places.
Yeah. I used to be the biggest movie nut you'd never want to meet. I'd go to film festivals, I'd go to movie marathons where you walk into the theater Friday afternoon and don't come out till Sunday night, and you're watching movies the whole time. So I was living in Hollywood. I was real excited. I was going to see a new movie, and a friend of mine spotted me from his car. He said, hey, Bill, what are you doing? And I said, oh, man, I can't wait. I'm going to go see a new movie. And he looked at me like I was some kind of schmuck. He said, really? A movie? Man, 2 hours alone in the dark. You could be having your own adventures instead of watching somebody else's. And man, that just flipped a switch in me. From that moment on, every year I would schedule an adventure around the world. The first one was going to the Galapagos Islands and Machu Picchu. And in 1989, I decided to go to Antarctica. And one of the reasons was I had these beautiful photography books on Antarctica by the world's greatest photographers, and they all said the same thing. Try as they could, there was no way they could capture the color of what was down there because of the limitations of the chemicals and emulsions. And I thought, well, wait a minute, I don't have that problem. Anything I see, I can put down on the paper. This sounds like a great place to go. Because they kept raving about the incredible color down there. To give you an example, I went down first on a cruise ship, and it was midnight. It was still light enough to paint. I was doing pastel landscapes. The sky went from a lime green to an apricot orange. The sea was mint green, and there were blue-violet icebergs in the distance. And to the left of the ship, there was an iceberg with a lemon yellow light emanating from below the surface of the water. Just unbelievable.
Wow.
Most spectacular place I've ever seen. And I thought, you know, I can't go back home and not try to preserve this place for my kids and grandkids. And so I thought, boy, one of the reactions I had when I told people that I was going to Antarctica was, why would you want to go there? It's just a bunch of snow and ice. Or, oh, you're going to paint down there? Bring a lot of white. You know, and it was
Everyone's a comedian.
It's just so much more than that.
Wow.
And I found out that the Antarctic Treaty that protects Antarctica was due to expire in 1991. Now, the treaty is extraordinary. It was an outgrowth of the International Geophysical Year, a year of cooperation amongst all the world scientists. Mm-hmm. President Eisenhower did not want to see that spirit die when that year ended, so he created the Antarctic Treaty that states that no one owns Antarctica, all wildlife is protected, there's no commercial exploitation of the continent allowed, no mining, no oil drilling, and all information is shared. Even at the height of the Cold War, the Soviets could come to any of our stations, look at what we were doing, and we could do the same with them. So it was this little oasis of sanity in the world. In fact, when you're living down there, you stop reading the news because the rest of the world seems insane. It's extraordinary.
Wow.
I later got an incredible grant from the National Science Foundation to go down and live in Antarctica, and I got to do 7 scuba dives under the ice, climbed an active volcano, camped out in the dry valleys. It was just the most extraordinary trip of my life. So when I was on that first ship, though, I thought, what can I do to convince the public that Antarctica is worth saving? And I thought, well, I'll do a one-man show of paintings depicting the beautiful diversity of life down there, the whales, the seals, the penguins. Mm-hmm. And just to make sure that every little kid drags their parents to see this show, I'm going to make half the show prehistoric Antarctica with dinosaurs. Oh. So as soon as I got back, I flew to Columbus, Ohio, and got a crash course in Antarctic paleontology from Dr. David Elliott. And I came back and started doing my Antarctic paintings. And after I'd done the first 5, I invited the director of the Natural History Museum of Los Angeles County to see the paintings. And he knew about the project I was trying to promote. And Dr. Craig Black came, saw the paintings. He said, you've got your show, and we will travel it for you. And they traveled it for 7 years.
Oh, my God.
Just extraordinary, all over the world.
That's amazing.
Ironically, the country that was not going to re-sign the Antarctic Treaty was the United States, even though we created it. And it was because the first President Bush, who's a Texas oil man, wanted to open it up for oil drilling, which makes sense from his perspective, but not from mine. Mm-hmm. And so there's this little group called the Antarctic and Southern Ocean Coalition, and they are coordinating all the activities of the bigger groups like Greenpeace and the Environmental Defense Fund and Natural Defense Resources. They're coordinating all those events to make Antarctica the very first world park, which basically means we extend the treaty forever and protect that continent forever. Mm-hmm.
Wow,
so that's a big passion of mine.
Incredible. Wow. I'm so amazed by you and the life that you've lived. That's incredible.
Let me tell you about my second scuba dive when I got trapped under the ice.
Oh, wow. Trapped under the...
Yeah. Scuba diving in Antarctica is the best scuba diving in the entire world. Mm-hmm. On a great day in the Bahamas, the barrier reef visibility is 120 feet. Mm-hmm. In Antarctica, the visibility is 1,200 feet. It's clearer than the air in this room. It feels like you're flying through thick air. So because of that, you can get very disoriented because everything is crystal clear and it hampers your judging of distances. So they have a rope going down to the bottom with flags on it so you can find your way back to the hole that you came into.
Okay.
So I was with a group of divers and we stopped at one place that looked like a likely place to go. It was called a seal crack. It was a big fissure in the ice that Weddell seals go in and out of.
Okay.
And the first 2 divers went down and about 2 minutes later they shot out of the water pursued by a big bull Weddell seal. So we found another spot that looked more likely. And they went down. This time they were down for about 30, 40 minutes. When they came up, I said, well, is it worth suiting up to go diving? They go, it's cathedrals of ice under there. I go, okay, I've got to see this.
Yeah.
This is amazing. So I went down with 2 other divers. And now they were doing about 4 or 5 dives a day. I was just doing 1 a day. Mm-hmm. And one of them signaled to me that she was cold and she was going back up. So she went up and I thought, well, I don't want to be the last guy to come out of here.
Yeah.
So eventually I swam over to the rope and went up the rope. But instead of the hole being there, it was a crack just big enough for my fingers and then 12 feet thick of ice. And I thought, did I do something wrong? And I went back down, went back up again, same thing happened. I thought, well, this is my worst nightmare.
Oh my
checked
God, I'm like
air.
already getting like anxiety just from...
I checked my air and my tanks. I still had half an hour. I got really good at just sipping the air. So I swam over to the other diver and through sign language explained the problem I was having. And she pointed in a different direction. So I followed where she pointed and there was the hole. And what had happened was that the divers on the surface didn't notice that the current had taken the rope from the wide part of the crack down to the narrow part of the crack.
Oh no.
I was so happy to find that
Oh
hole.
my gosh. Well, I'm glad you're okay. Wow. Oh. I need to calm down for a second.
Okay.
I have to ask before
Sure.
we get into your book.
bet.
What's your favorite dinosaur?
My favorite dinosaur, man, it goes right back to King Kong with the T-Rex.
Awesome.
just
Very
love that
cool.
guy.
Very cool.
I never get tired of looking at T-Rexes.
Yeah. So
I have a T-Rex skull in my living room.
you have a real one?
It's cast from the one at the Natural History Museum here in LA.
That's so cool. Oh.
Big up front.
Yeah, I was like, how big is that? Like,
At the time it was found, it was the biggest T-Rex
Yeah.
skull ever found. It was about from here to about the end of that table. Pretty huge.
that's so amazing. I just heard little voices go, Jesus, oh my God, like around this studio. That's crazy.
I thought I was a collector. Boy, that guy's crazy.
No, I mean, we're all collectors here. Everyone loves something. So we have this book called The Art of William Stout, and you guys can go to side.show/Art of Will Stout to pre-order yours now. This is the collector edition that is probably about...
It's actually, yeah, well, I don't know if that one's out yet, but this one's out.
This one's out,
This
for
one's out.
sure.
I think
This
they
one
still
is
may
the-
be working on this one because there's so many
So
extras.
much. Yeah, there's so much in this that it comes with. There's like a sketch over here on this side. It has all of your
There's
fantasy
a little
artwork.
folio of prints. There's a whole special comic book that's all my comic book stories that have never been collected before like that.
I'm watching Challenger's face, like his like jaw just dropped about this. So this is so cool. I know that this is available for pre-order on the website for sure, and then this one is already available. So we, if you don't mind sticking around, have a Q&A from our live audience
Oh, I
that will
would
be
love that.
happening. So we have a short video break, and when we come back, we will have a live Q&A with William Stout. You're watching Sideshow Live.
I love talking to my fans.
Yeah. I could listen.
Alas, my poor naive mortal, you've been dealt a terrible lie. You dwell in myths of heaven as a place of hope and salvation, and hell as one of punishment for those not worthy of pearly gates. In truth, they are two sides of one vile, corrupt coin, as neither care for salvation nor damnation. Their reality is a place of cruel imbalance, where your mortal souls serve only to further fuel a war of supremacy that is never ending. Horrifying, no? Yet in the shadows lie another path, with one who deals in the cold currency of truth. He is death, the all-taker. His offer is simple. Look past your mortal fears and embrace his promise to restore balance to life and the hereafter. Accept sanctuary amongst the mourners of the underworld and fight with us. Our celestial masters must be made to see their folly, to restore what is just. We will rise, conquer, and rule.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Sideshow Live. We are here with William Stout, an amazing artist and fascinating person, just in general. I could listen to you talk forever. We have a lot of questions from the audience,
great.
so if you want to just get right into it.
Oh yeah, let's dive in.
Awesome. Okay. Wow. first off, we're getting asked, you mentioned all of your Antarctic paintings that you
Right.
did for that exhibition. Is there a place that that people can see them still?
I've got a few of them on my website, williamstout.com. Most of them right now, the tour is over. They're in my studio. I'm still working on them. You know, a funny thing happened when I was working on that project. I used to subscribe to what I call the Pinball School of Career Planning, where boing, boing, just bounce all over the place.
I understand that.
And then
very
when
well.
I was doing the Antarctic paintings, I had a feeling come over me that this is what you were meant to do. And I didn't have that urge to do something different after that. I had an urge to just keep doing more of these.
Oh, wow.
So I created a goal of doing 100 oil paintings of Antarctica. And that will be for a book which will be the first visual history of Antarctica.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So-
oh my gosh. So
they
someday,
eventually will be available
all on a
in
book.
one book.
Oh, beautiful. Jessica's asking, has William ever been on a real dinosaur dig before?
I have been on several real dinosaur digs. One of the best was when my Antarctic show was traveling, one of the museums it went to was the Royal Tyrrell Museum in Canada, which is in Drumheller, which is where Dinosaur Provincial Park is. And they called me up because they wanted me to speak at the opening. And they said, you know, if you wanted, we could bring you out a couple of days earlier and you could go on a dinosaur dig in Dinosaur Provincial Park. I said, oh, sign me up right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
wow.
I get there. It was about a 2-hour drive from the museum. And I get there, and we're walking to the dig site, and I am so antsy, so nervous, because I can see I'm walking on dinosaur bones, and I'm crushing them. And I'm thinking I'm ruining all this incredible research and all this stuff. And the paleontologist said, it's just a bunch of junk. Wait till you see what we got. And so he took me to the spot, and he held his arms out like this. He said, okay, imagine 2 city blocks within right here. We think we've got 20 to 30,000 dinosaur skeletons here. And he handed me a whisk brush. He said, get to work. I go, what, a whisk brush? I'm used to dinosaur digs where you got to chip rocks and it's really hard work and
He's
stuff.
like-
And I'm whisking away sand, and in the first half hour, I find 3 Centrosaurus skulls. And I'm like, this is unbelievable. Then I thought, wait a minute, this is a little too unbelievable. Did they seed these for the new guy? Is this all a joke? Nope. This location is like that. They think that maybe what happened was there was a gigantic flash flood that took an entire dinosaur herd and into the end of a box canyon where everything got piled up, and that's why there's so many skeletons
Oh,
there.
wow. Okay. Because I was
Anyway,
just
so
going to
that
ask,
was-
like, why would there be so many dinosaurs there?
Yeah.
But
Yeah. So anyway,
They
that
already
was
know.
a fantastic dinosaur dig.
wow. What has been Mr. Stout's favorite movie to work on?
Oh, favorite movie to work on? Well, the easiest was Masters of the Universe because the production was so screwed up. There's no way I could be late on anything. so that was really fun. It was fun working with Guillermo on Pan's Labyrinth.
Joe Lombardo wants to know if you have any memories from Pan's Labyrinth or stories you'd like to tell.
Yeah, well, my involvement with Pan's Labyrinth was actually pretty minimal. Guillermo said he couldn't afford me for more than a week because it was a low-budget little Spanish film. But I got to tell you, what happened was I have a lot of mutual friends who are friends with Guillermo, and they all kept saying the same thing. Bill, you got to meet Guillermo. You two will hit it off. You're like 2 peas in a pod. It's unbelievable. But somehow we just kept missing each other. But my friend Frank Darabont, who directed Shawshank Redemption, he used to throw a party every Thursday at Comic-Con at the best restaurant in San Diego, invite all his favorite artists, and sometimes some of his director friends too. So he invited me and he invited Guillermo, and he placed us so we were sitting opposite each other.
Smart
So
man.
we did hit it off. He came into my booth the next day and bought a couple paintings from me. And he said, would you mind delivering these to my home? I said, not at all. He says, I got a little project I want to talk to you about. So I drove over to his home, and he began to talk to me about Pan's Labyrinth, and my working on Pan's Labyrinth. And in the middle of that, he gets a phone call. So I hear his end of it, which is, oh, hello. Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. Oh, I'm so pleased. This is great. Oh, that sounds wonderful. I am so honored. I am so honored, but I'm sorry. I will have to pass. I need to make my little Spanish film now. And he hung up. I go, Guillermo, what was all that about? He said, oh, it's Warner Brothers. They just offered me Harry Potter. And I went, whoa, whoa, boy, boy.
Wow. Think
My
of how different
esteem
Harry
for
Potter would have
him
been.
just shot way up. That he blew off the Harry Potter franchise to make his little Spanish film.
Oh, wow.
That so impressed me. I thought, man, this guy's he's the real deal.
Yeah, man, and now he's an Oscar-winning director.
Yes.
So that's wow. That's amazing. So we have a couple people asking if you're a fan of Jurassic Park.
You know, funny thing, I received a mysterious package in the mail one day, and the note on top said, "Read this, but don't look at the last page until you've read the whole thing." I go, "What is this?" And so I start reading it, and I'm going, "Wow, this is an amazing story. This is fantastic." And wow, this would be an incredible movie. I mean, I should really be the designer for this because it's dinosaurs. I'm the dinosaur guy, and I even know who all the characters are. The real people that he based the characters on is Jack Horner, you know, and stuff. And theme parks, I just spent 3 years designing theme parks for Disney. And I get to the very last page of this preview copy, it hadn't even been published yet, of Jurassic Park. And there's Michael Crichton's acknowledgement to me as being an inspiration for the book. And I thought, I am so screwed. Because there's an axiom in Hollywood, which is the more perfect you are for a project, the less likely it is that you will do it.
Oh.
But that was
the whole room went, oh.
It was the only film I ever actually tried to get, which is another Hollywood taboo. You never try for anything, because if they think you're interested in it, then they don't want to give it to you. So, but I did have lunch with the production designer of Jurassic Park, Rick Carter, every 2 weeks, and I fed him stuff to put into the movie.
Very cool. That's awesome. So then a follow-up question to this, if you could bring back one dinosaur, what would you bring back? First, would you bring it back?
Yes, I would, because I am dying to see what a Tyrannosaurus Rex really looks like. I mean, we think we know, but it could be so different. It could be outrageous colors. In China, they found a Tyrannosaur had a big plume on the end of its tail. Do all Tyrannosaurs have big plumes on the end of their tails? I want to know.
Yeah. And then we were talking, because my favorite dinosaur is the Stegosaurus, and we were talking about how they thought the tail was incorrect at one point, and you were telling...
For many years, we didn't really know what Stegosaurus looked like. We had pieces of Stegosaurus. We had enough pieces to make a whole Stegosaurus, but how were the plates arranged on the back? Were they 2 rows of single plates? Was it 1 single roll of plates? Was it alternating plates?
Yeah.
We didn't know. And then a few years ago, they were doing a new highway construction project, and they found 2 what they call roadkill stegosaurs, completely intact skeletons with everything in place. And they found out that the plates on the spine alternated and slightly overlapped, going all the way down the spine. But what really surprised them was the tail, because previously they had mounted the spikes on the tail like this. Well, if you think about it, that's not very effective as a weapon if you get hit like that. But if they were on the sides of the tail like that, and they swung it, you would get stuck. On top of that, they discovered something they had no idea about, which was that the Stegosaurus had its throat completely covered with silver dollar-sized bony plates, almost like chainmail to protect the throat. So this is my interpretation of that. I'll put this up here. And so you can see the little bony throat there and the alternating plates and the spikes coming out the side of the tail.
Oh my God, I love it so much.
So this is one of my pieces for dinosaur,
Didn't cry. Almost cried, didn't cry. Oh my gosh, one of the pieces for dinosaur.
My crying thing is if I watch It's a Wonderful Life. I've seen it so many times now, I cry in anticipation of the next scene.
I have movies like that too, definitely.
Pre-cry.
He pre-cries. He definitely pre-cries. The username Toy Medic wants to know where has been your favorite adventure? What was your favorite place to visit? I think besides Antarctica, because that was clearly a
hands
clear
down
favorite.
Antarctica. Oh gosh, I loved traveling all over the Yucatan.
Wow.
And when I was in Prague, I took a 5-hour bus trip to a little tiny village in the Czech Republic to see Alphonse Mucha's Slav epic murals. They had all the originals there. And I could get this close to the murals and look at them.
Oh my God.
I was literally pinching myself because I thought, well, this has to be a dream. This can't be real that I'm actually seeing these after all these years. But it was real.
Oh my God.
So
wow, so you're not kidding, like real adventures. These are like once in a lifetime experiences.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Another great one was Patagonia, the southern tip of South America. I went to both Argentinian Patagonia and Chilean Patagonia, and I rented a car and drove over 1,000 miles because they still have forests of araucaria trees, known here monkey puzzle trees, which existed, were abundant in the Cretaceous. So it's very difficult to find them in their natural setting. So here were entire national parks I could go to and take photos of, so I could use those in my reconstructions.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's amazing. Wow. Okay. Do you have any dream projects in the back of your mind that you still would like to work on someday?
Sure. Well, my most requested book is a book on all my music-related art. In the mid-1970s, I did a series of 45 bootleg record album covers, and music collectors are anxious to have those collected all in one source, and I would have that along with all my regular stuff. I think the most important book I will do of my career will probably be my book on the history of life of Antarctica.
Yeah.
I think that'll be a real solid book, and hopefully Antarctica will still be around by the time that book comes out. It's melting really quickly, and the ice over the center of Antarctica is so heavy and so thick it has pushed the landmass underneath it down below sea level. So when that melts, Antarctica is going to be 2 islands, East Antarctica and West Antarctica.
Oh wow.
And
that's
it's rapidly melting.
I did not know that. Oh my gosh. Wow. They're asking about your favorite of these statues behind you. We've decorated the set for William Stout. We put our Dinosauria line behind us. So we have so many of these pieces are just completely unavailable because our Dinosauria line was incredibly popular with all of us who grew up with dinosaurs and dinosaur fans. So do you have a favorite of the Dinosauria collection?
I love this one back here, the sauropod being attacked by the allosaurs. They're either allosaurs or ceratosaurs, because it's just so dynamic and full of action. As a production designer on films, I often hire a lot of sculptors, and what I look for in a sculpture is, does it look good from every angle? Not just the one key angle that you see in the ads, but it should look good no matter where you stand.
Absolutely.
And boy, that's something that Sideshow does better than anybody.
Thank you. Oh, wow. That's all the questions that we have. I just kind of we should do story time sometime. Just hang out. William Stout can come hang out, tell us about his adventures, Adventures with William Stout. We can mock up the Indiana Jones-esque logo. You worked on Raiders, so it's on theme. But
so should I tell my favorite showbiz story?
Sure. Okay. There we go. Let's end with your favorite showbiz story.
Okay. I was working on the remake of Invaders from Mars, script by Dan O'Bannon, who I had worked with on Return of the Living Dead. The director was Toby Hooper.
Jeff? Yeah, I know. Jeff.
So we had contacted the United States Air Force about loaning us equipment and gear for the film. And we hadn't heard back from them, and the shooting date was starting to loom, and I was getting nervous. So finally, I just called them up. I said, the Air Force is going to help us out with the making of our motion picture. And the guy said, no, I'm sorry, the United States Air Force cannot cooperate in the making of your film. I said, why? You guys are the heroes. You're the good guys, the military. You saved the day. You killed the Martians. What's the downside? And he said, it is the official position of the United States Air Force that there are no Martians and there are no UFOs. I said, seriously? That's your excuse?
That's oh my! They knew that it was fake, right?
I couldn't believe it. It's what are we going to do? Well, our storyboard artist, Keith Crosley, hands me a card. He says, call this guy. And it had a name of a guy, and it said, United States Marine Corps Public Relations Liaison Officer. So I called him up. He said, well, send me a script. And I said, I will message you a script. I'll have a messenger over there within 2 hours. You'll have the script. Because we're getting tense. And the next day, I didn't wait any longer than a day. I called him up. I said, did you read the screenplay? He said, yes, I did. I said, so the Marine's going to help us out? He said, you will have the full cooperation of the United States Marine Corps in the making of your motion picture. I said, so there's no problem with the Marine Corps' position on Martians and UFOs? He said, son, it is the official position of the United States Marine Corps that the United States Marines have no qualms whatsoever about killing Martians.
That is amazing. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for being here. That's all we have for today. Be sure to keep up to date on everything that we're doing by going to side.show/notify and turning those notifications on. You'll know every time that we go live anywhere. Thank you, William, for being here. It was so awesome to talk to you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and tune in next time. Don't forget to let your geek side show. Thanks, guys. Woo!